What's going on, Jerome's? So, doing the autopsy on the Minnesota Vikings 2024 season, which abruptly came to an end. Actually, it wasn't abruptly, right? Because the Lions game, it was like you started skidding off the road because of ice, and then everything was in slow motion for me, and then the Rams game was just like, yikes. But So a main reason why the Vikings won 14 games and a main reason why they lost their last two is slinging Sammy Darnold. Yes, one last time, America's quarterback, right? And here's the thing, too. There's going to be, we said this before, there's going to be a lot of revisionist history and a lot of hindsight 2020, a lot of I told you so's with Darnold. But let's be honest here. Sam Darnold balled out this season. Sam Darnold looked really, really good at times this year, but I don't know, maybe he peaked against the Packers, right? But again, let's not just go back and retroactively just completely disregard everything that Sam Darnold did this season. 4,300 yards passing, 35 touchdowns. He was, like we said, he was the reason why the Vikings won 14 games. Also, he was the reason why they lost the last two. Right, so everything is part and parcel. But it was so weird because after going for 377 and 3 touchdowns against the Packers, probably his best game of his career. I mean, I don't know, maybe this team was just cursed after they gave Darnold the shower. Like maybe this was a reverse baptism, and then he just went to the dark side. Or just the game against the Lions where I don't know what happened to Darnold's accuracy, because he was damn accurate and confident throughout the year, but it's almost like, I don't know, like we said, like it's almost like he was point shaving. But I don't know, maybe his agent was getting in his ears like, hey, you're going to make $50 million per year, just don't screw up. And then that completely killed things, because his eyes, his footwork, his mechanics, his accuracy just all went to poop, because he easily should have had 4 or 5 walk-in touchdowns against the Lions. And then, of course, the Rams game, yeah, he got sacked 9 times. The offensive line wasn't great, but also probably about 4 or 5 of those sacks were on him. Just hang on to the ball too damn long. He was all over the place accuracy-wise. He couldn't complete a screen pass. Even that touchdown to Hockenson was way behind 8-7, and the logo made a great play on the ball. But other than that, yeah. And like we said, even though Darnold had a phenomenal season, it just... And then you realize that Sam Darnold's 2024 season, he was just Ginger Jeremy Lin, right? But again, let's not gloss over the fact that Darnold's 7-game stretch in between the Jacksonville game and before the Lions game was historic. And I know people will be like, oh, always told you about Sam Darnold, blah, blah. No, legitimately, during this run, there was a conversation of, do the Vikings bring Darnold back? Is it a franchise tag situation? Do they give him an extension? J.J. McCarthy can sit. And I know people will say, like, well, the stupid in retrospect. Yes, because it is retrospect. And yes, Darnold's future was contingent on what happened in the playoffs. And it would still be a conversation. Say Darnold was average against the Lions and the Rams instead of the worst quarterback play that we've seen in many moons. And that's saying a lot for being a Vikings fan. Like somewhere Josh Freeman is just doing the Rudy clap. Yeah, but Darnold, remember, Darnold played great against some good teams and some good defenses, leading comeback wins and fourth quarter drives and sealing out games and all that stuff. He had a 114 quarterback rating, 18 touchdowns, 2 picks. He was playing insane. He was playing top 5 quarterback football, and that is going to get lost in the soup because of the last 2 games. But that's sort of what happens when call no show for the 2 biggest games of your career. Also, remember, Sam Darnold's in the Pro Bowl. Now, Vikings fans are going to flip a tit when Darnold wins the accuracy competition or he's named MVP of the flag football game, because that's exactly what's going to happen. 100%, because the football gods hate the Vikings. 100% what's going to happen. But here's what's it's saying. So during the 7-game stretch, Darnold is going to get paid. Darnold is going to get paid a lot, and he still might. But given how bad the Lions and the Rams games were, it's not hyperbolic to say that Sam Darnold probably gave away $100 million of value. Now, I understand, this whole thing with the timing with the California wildfires, it's not meant to be that, but it, very common parlance to say Darnold in 15 days. Remember, it was a gap of 15 days between this and then this and then this, ultimately. Just over 2 weeks, Sam Darnold probably lit $100 million on fire because he was probably going to get a 5-year, $250 million deal. No more. Ain't happening anymore. And what's interesting is that SpotRack's pretty good in terms of, calculating market value, and they're really good with contracts, and I love them over there. So this was in October, and when Darnold was starting his nice little run, average estimated market value $32.4 million. So 4-year, $130 million deal. You're like, okay, it's probably a little bit low. And then after his 7-game stretch, it turned into $55 million per year. A 4-year, $220 million deal. You're like, okay, that's probably legit. He's not going to get with the Vikings, but somewhere else, a team that's desperate for a quarterback is going to pay that. But then, this is funny, SpotRack readjusted this morning. While the recent poor play may eliminate Sam Darnold from the Vikings' plans in 2025, he remains the top pending free agent quarterback. If we're evaluating him as a mid-range quarterback going forward, Darnold now projects as a 4-year, $160 million deal in our system. I love that that's mid-range. It's the Daniel Jones contract. Sorry, it's the Daniel Jones Ed Donashell contract. It's great, but Sam Darnold literally lost a third of his estimated market value in a night. That's what happens, man. All right, and all this, the talk all season, man. Well, I mean, Darnold's probably going to get the Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith type deal. I don't even know if he gets that anymore. And just think, 2 weeks ago, he was in the conversation of getting the Burrow, Tua, Jared Goff, Justin Herbert type contract, but they gone, right? And yes, with the Vikings, it's definitely J.J. McCarthy time, and I'm fired up for it because that's how bad Darnold has been over the last 2 games. And you could say that that's recency biased. That's what happens when you completely do not show up in the 2 biggest games of the year. And yes, the offensive line, yes, Kevin O'Connell, but it is on Darnold. There's really no other way to spin it. I mean, Darnold was just embarrassing over these last 2 games, and he really did undo all of the goodwill that he built up throughout a very phenomenal season, by the way. So that's what happens. But that's America. Like, they build you up and tear you down and then come back, and then you just fall flat on your face. Ay-ya. But he'll rise again, because we always do, because we're America. All right, but your thoughts on our thoughts. Slinging Sammy Darnold. I mean, what the hell happened? Anyways, your thoughts are thoughts. Comment section. You guys know what to do. Skull production value.